Hello, my name is Sarah Turner and I'm the chair of the British Flower and Vibrational Essence Association. This weekend we are at our annual gathering for the Beaver, and we're taking the opportunity to talk to some of the people here and to share some of the wisdom from the flower essence world. So I'm sitting here with Chris Bailey of the Bailey Essences. Thank you, Chris, for just taking this opportunity to share with us. I'm going to hand over now to Jenny Howarth, who is the founder and owner of Yorkshire Flower Essences, who's going to talk to Chris.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Yes, so I'm Jenny Howarth, and yes, I am the owner and founder of Yorkshire Flower Essences, of which Bailey Essences are an integral and very important part, and really are the heritage of what we're doing. And as well as having over 100 individual essences, there are combinations. And some of those combinations of essences are based around the 5 elements. So I've brought the box here so that we can see the 5 elements set. So there are the 5 elements, and each element has its deficient and its excess combination. And if I'm quite honest, I'm just getting to grips with this because I haven't worked a great deal with the 5 elements, and I'm flowing through the seasons with it. But it's a great moment to be able to sit down with Chris, who has worked with the 5 elements extensively in the past too as a shiatsu practitioner. So it's lovely. I thought we could take this chance to look at the elements and how they affect everyday life.
Really. Absolutely,
so, thank you, Chris. And we're here in springtime, in March, and so maybe spring and wood is a good place to start. But you tell me, Chris.
Well, yes, I mean, it is a good place to start because we are in spring, and wood is expressed in spring, and it's expressed in various ways, just like you were saying, Jenny. And it's if one has possibly too much wood, too much excess, one can be quite rigid and quite, if I may dare to use the words, almost military. And it's because it's very strong. It can be very judgmental. It's not as flexible when it's in excess, so you get the rigidity. If you can think of a tree that's rigid, it's going to fall in the storm because it has no flexibility. So if you're looking at the other side of wood, the more, perhaps the yin side, the more possibly deficient, although if we're really deficient in wood, we wouldn't be standing up. So it's one of the ones that you're less likely to be really deficient in it. But there are sides to the wood which perhaps aren't as clear. So decision making is part of the wood element. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And you will get those, and I include myself in this, who vacillate, make a decision. No, it's that one. No, it's that one. So that is one of the things which can happen with the wood element, and that's just one of the aspects where it can be expressed. It's the emotion that often goes with wood is anger or irritation, if you haven't got it in balance. So in balance, we've got clear overview. It's to do with the eyes. So you've got this wonderful overview. If you can imagine again the military thing, the person that's got the battle has the overview, knows exactly what to do. And in our own lives, if we can have that clarity, then we're better placed to act.
Right. Okay, yes. So that's interesting to make those links between nature and ourselves and how we respond.
Absolutely.
So wood then, there's a whole flow, isn't there, between the elements? Wood then, in the springtime, as I see it with seasons, wood flows towards spring, towards summer. Yes.
From the wood and from the spring, we go naturally into summer, which is expressed through fire. And in the elements which we're talking about, which are the Chinese elements, not the straightforward 4 that we have in this country, but the fire, even then the fire is actually split into 2. So we have a part of it which is called our supplementary fire, which is to do with feeding ourselves, protecting ourselves, there is one particular meridian which is called the heart protector, and this is part of the fire. But fire in its main is to do with being creative. It's got a good sense of being able to speak, a lot of joy, a lot of spontaneity. This is when we have our fire nicely in balance, working well for us. If we are in excess, we can even sort of do too much laughing, be a bit over the top. You sometimes hear that sometimes in people's laughter, that they're actually a little bit more acute with it, perhaps going a little bit too far. And sometimes in deficient, you can have that lack of joy, that bit of apathy, a bit of depression, an inability to love, because fire, of course, is all about love and expressing yourself and being creative. A lot of actors have fire in their way of being.
So this is again where the essences can come in. So somebody with fire excess can use the fire excess combination, which I'm just going to have a look at here, and that can help to bring things back to balance.
That can help to bring things back to balance. And as one knows more about the elements, in fact, you may turn to a different element to support it. And the element that I would instinctively turn to support it would be the earth. Because when you have earth supporting the fire is safe. If you can think of the earth and a pit, and you put your fire in the pit, the fire is safe. If the fire is left sort of everywhere, it can burn whole forests, if you want to think of that as an analogy. So, yes, these are designed to be used in a very simple way. But as you learn more about them, you can then begin to go back to have the support in a different way. But yes, that's the way you would instinctively use them.
So we've flowed from wood through fire and then earth.
Then earth,
containing. And then moving on from earth. Then
we come into the aspect of metal, which is in autumn when things die back, a natural die back. But the qualities of metal, if you can think about metal, communication, the wires, the communication, being able to cut through things like a knife. It's fairly precise. When it's working well, you work with self-confidence and your clarity to cut through where you need to. If you've got it in excess, you might be over-dependent and, again, sometimes a little bit rigid and may not be communicating well, so you may have a high neck or something like this. And deficient, you find it difficult to communicate. People tend to be a recluse when they've got metal deficiency. And also it's very much to do with our boundaries. The boundaries that we have aren't balanced and in place. They're either not there at all, or we've got a too rigid boundary around us.
So that finally then, through metal, flows to water.
Flows to water, which is the winter season. And again, if we have water in balance, we are calm. We flow easily like a lovely river, just sort of meandering. And it's to do with easy change, growth and movement. In excess, it can be over-dominant. It can lack fluidity. It can be blocked. It can be icy. You can think about all the things that go with water. It can hold things rigidly, like jealousy or that kind of aspect to it. And deficient is when we're very fearful, lacking in willpower, not having very much memory, and so on. So those are very, very briefly the aspects of the elements. There's some lovely things to learn as well. But
I can feel that, so I think this is a way that I need to be moving. Well, I think it could be useful. And now I can start to relate a little bit more. And I guess practitioners who are familiar with the elements and meridian work can relate that bit more immediately to.
Yes. Well, these were created by myself, my son-in-law, who was an acupuncturist, and Arthur, who dowsed for the flowers to go with them.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed, Chris, for that introduction. I'm going to start relating and using 5 elements a little bit more. Thank you.
Okay.